Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last week I've been driving the 2025 Subaru WRX TS. Up front is a 2.4 liter turbocharged flat 4, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last week driving the new WRX TS. This is a brand new trim level for the 2025 model year. It was only unveiled a couple of months ago, and I'm excited to finally have a go in it and figure out what's what. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 2.4 liter turbocharged flat 4 under the hood. Well, for the TS, that doesn't actually gain anything. It still makes the 271 horsepower that all trim levels of the WRX make. There is no power bump for the TS. However, there is revised suspension that was actually designed in partner with STI, and some drive modes to go along with that. But the 2.4 turbo remains the same at 271. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now the TS trim level only comes in a manual, which I like to see for an enthusiast car. However, unlike the GR Corolla, which is now offering an automatic, Subaru's sales says that over 80% of WRXs that are purchased are manual transmission. It's actually very hard to find an automatic WRX on any lot, so that's a good sign for the brand, and people want the stick, so they get the stick. Last but not least, of course, this does have Subaru's all-wheel drive system, as well as it does have 6-piston Brembo brakes up front and dual-piston Brembo brakes at the back. The suspension is really good because you can switch it as well. Driving around in comfort mode, it drives like the standard WRX. When you put it into Sport or Sport Plus, it really does stiffen up the ride, which I think was kind of missing from this generation of WRX. I like that stiffer ride, and you can now select that. So how does it feel to drive? It feels a lot more planted than the other WRXs of this generation. It feels more distinguished. Feels like it has something to prove, and I really like that. It sort of has that fire in its belly back from the older WRX generations, at least in terms of driving and road feel. But again, like I said, that power is not increased. Visibility is good. The manual transmission feels great, very clicky into gear. The clutch is nice and friendly. It's not the lightest I've felt, but far from the heaviest. And overall, the driving experience is very good. That's why you buy something like this, and that's why I've been enjoying it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because we do have a handful of changes in here for the TS as well. Well, in front of me, I have a digital dashboard. So here is the non-digital dash of this generation for the WRX. This gets digital gauges. As you can see, the tachometer says STI, which we'll talk about later on, but you could also set up your navigation or other things like that in the digital gauges. So the WRX kind of moving into the more modern era. On the steering wheel on the left, we have our skip track volume source, phone options and information, and off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise control with steering assist. Very nice to see that with the eyesight system. Our favorite button and our mode button. So the mode button is for the drive modes, which are special for the TS. We have normal, sport, sport plus, individual, and comfort. So plenty of different options, and when you do switch the drive modes, you get options to fine-tune it in the center display. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent with a little bit of suede, but it is nice to the touch, adds a little bit of nice feel to the vehicle. And down below, we have our trunk release, gauge dimmer switch, and traction control off. On the door, we have some fake carbon fiber accents, more nice material, lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. And moving into the center, we get the giant infotainment display. We do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and although I'm not a huge fan of these giant tablets that they're putting in cars, this is far from the worst, and it's pretty manageable. I do have some features up top that remain there, like the accelerator pedal percentage, water temperature, oil temperature, and I could cycle through a couple of things up there. And here is the backup camera, in case you were curious. Down below that, we do have our aux input, one of probably the last cars to have an aux input. USB-C, USB-A, and a 12-volt outlet, a little tray, and the shifter. You'll notice the blue accents here for the TS, which will be more noticeable when we talk about the seats. But like I said, the shifter looks and feels good. I'm pretty happy with it there. Little cubby and some cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the WRX TS. However, it doesn't exactly fit. It's not super snug, and it kind of bows out and stuff, so I just don't have a whole lot of confidence in it. So unfortunately, I have to give the WRX a fail on the big friggin' bottle test. Now, like I said, the seats are special. They do have blue accents, and they do have WRX TS on them, which is really, really nice, stitched into the headrest, which I like to see. They are a little bit tighter as well. They are less forgiving, a little bit skinnier than other seats. However, I, as a bigger fellow, actually fit in them pretty well, and I've been happy with them. And I'm 5'11" and about 270, so if that gives you any point of reference. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a backseat review. So, this is a pivotal moment because the GR Corolla, in which I love, has a terrible backseat. The Mazda 3 Turbo has a terrible backseat. The Honda Civic Si and Type R are the only two, and I guess Integra, because same thing, that have a decent backseat. So, let's see where the WRX stacks up. It might be one of the best. This is fantastic. This is my driving position, and I have several inches between any part of my body touching the front seat. Headroom is a little bit lower than I would have liked to have seen. I could feel hitting a bump on a rally stage or going airborne. I might touch the ceiling, but hopefully I'm not doing that too much. USB-C as well as a USB-A down here, and you can see the block-off panels for the heated seats in the limited trim level. Cup holders in the center here, and the blue accents do carry onto the back seats. As I say with a lot of my videos, a lot of times manufacturers will do a fun, funky color up front and then nothing in the back. So the blue carries on back here, which I really, really like. Other than that, nothing too crazy. We get our Harman Kardon speaker in the back, although it's just one off center towards the driver's side, which is weird. But the Harman Kardon system is great. I forgot to mention that up front. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Subaru WRX TS, and we do have a little key fob here to pop the trunk, and it will pop most of the way up. Once we are in here, nothing really too crazy to write home about. We can pull this up. We do get some front license plate brackets and things like that, but I don't see a spare tire. Yep, we have an inflator kit. We don't get a spare tire, so that's something I would like to see maybe in the future or something like that. But definitely like the rear trunk space of the WRX. Again, something that it has over the GR Corolla is that it actually has usable trunk space where the GR Corolla kind of doesn't. But there it is. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really enjoy the look of the WRX. This is finished in sapphire blue metallic, and I've always liked that. However, nothing really visually changes for the TS besides some nice bright badging up at the front and at the rear. I actually really like how this generation of WRX looks. I know it was kind of controversial for a while. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I've never minded it. I always thought that it was pretty decent looking, and so here's to that as well. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Subaru WRX TS from 2025 for the last 7 days? Well, I've really, really enjoyed my experience here in the WRX TS. I think it does a lot of things really well. It drives better than the other trims of the WRX. The suspension is a lot better, the brakes are better, and for very obvious reasons. And so as a car, as a product, as an enthusiast mobile, I like it a lot. I think it's very good, although I think my money would still be spent on a GR Corolla. I just like how that car is a little bit more raw, and it makes a little bit more power. However, if you want to actually use your back seats, the WRX is a fantastic option. There is a downside, though. This generation of WRX has never received an STI trim level, and it never really bothered me because there just wasn't a performance version of the WRX. This to me feels like Subaru's sort of dangling the carrot in front of us. The suspension is done by STI. The gauge cluster says STI. I've never seen that on a non-STI vehicle getting an STI badge. What it feels like is when you have an itch in the center of your back and you find a really dull door frame to rub it on. Sure, the itch goes away, but it's not that satisfying, ugh. You know? That's what this feels like to me. It's a great car. As a product in an echo chamber with no outside resources, this is a great car. But it just makes me yearn for an STI. I didn't realize how many years it's been since we've gotten a WRX STI. And I'm itching for it. I want it. I want that crazy cousin back in my life. I want the fire-breathing Subaru in my face. And it just feels like this car is teasing that just a little bit. Oh, sure, we'll put in the gauge cluster, we'll change the suspension, we'll make it great to drive, but it's not an STI. So that's how I feel about the car as a whole. Wonderful product, but it certainly leaves me wanting more. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Subaru. This is my first Subaru press car. I was so excited by it. They've been absolutely wonderful to work with. I appreciate them letting me borrow this car for a full week. Huge thank you to G. Schmidt for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of the vehicle, and of course, the Midwestern Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.